Hello, this is Dave, and welcome to Equities Story. I'm here with the amazing and incredible Mr. Wolfie, all pretty in pink as normal. Um,
You, Dave.
and
I really
this
like
is just general share advice and not personal advice. Um, Wolf,
it.
um, few,
We're finally starting to get a few nice quarterlies coming through, Dave. So plenty to talk about today.
yeah. Before we start, I just want to talk about some trades that we got on at the moment. And the first one is AGL. Now it was starting to do quite well for us, but there's been an issue, Wolf, with the one of the uh, one of the
Power stations, yeah.
power
Loy
station.
Yang number two.
Yeah, which one is it?
Loy Yang number two.
Right, you think it'd be in China? Why would they?
I don't know what the name comes from, to be honest. It's pretty interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, you think it'd be Bruce or Sheila number two, but why Loy Yang? But anyway, um, it's a sell, Wolf, unfortunately.
It is. The problem is it's an outage, right? So they said it's not going to reopen the latest till I think 1st of August, which is it's a long way. It's 6 months away, right? So you're probably a little bit less than that, but still, the problem is they didn't say. They said that we don't know what the financial impact will be. We'll let you know that in due time. No, we don't want to know now. We want to get out now. We don't want to wait.
Yeah, so it was starting to move up quite nicely for us, Wolf. So there's no
Too much risk.
there's no not too bad, not like there's I think any significant money lost there, maybe 1% or something. So what we're going to do, we're going to put our stop loss at where it is now, 835, just so everyone knows to get out. We'll update that today, and obviously we'll put that on. I'll just do it as we talk, so make sure we get this done, and we'll update that, and we'll get out of it.
Yeah, look, the thing is, Dave, with AGL, we just don't want to take unnecessary risks with this, right? Even though they might come up with an update saying, look, the impact's not going to be ridiculously bad. It's still, the price might not collapse, but why be in something where there's an unknown, uncertain thing that could potentially see it come back below the actual trend line? So I just, I think I'm making the decision of cutting and just concentrating on stuff that really don't have too many of those things in the actual story at the moment is probably the best way to go.
Yeah, definitely, Wolf. And you know what they also often say when you're trending,
Mm-hmm.
any rumor, anything, it doesn't matter what it is, you get
Mm-hmm.
out. That's the
Yeah,
rule of trending, right? It doesn't matter if it's a news, a rumor, a bad
exactly.
report, blah 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 blah
Exactly.
blah. You just get out.
Yep.
So da da da, we're gonna get out. Um, the other one is actually doing very well for us, Whitehaven. So um, it's actually hit our target price of 480. So again, a great trade. So
Mm-hmm.
what we're going to do with this one, Wolf, we're gonna lift our stop, and our stop was at 419. I think we'll lift our stop. Let me have a look here. We're at Whitehaven. Uh, we can lift it to maybe either you could take a profit now, which you're very welcome to do. I think it will come down to that 450, but I
Mm-hmm.
think we can lift our stop to on the weekly to around that sort of 448 level. Um, how does that sound, Wolf? Good?
Good. And let me just comment on the actual quarterly, which was very strong. And of course, we expected to be very strong with the coal prices going up. And that's what has driven this real share price appreciation over the last few months. When you're going from $100 selling your product for to getting $300 for your product is a significant increase. So that's 200% on what you were getting about a year ago. Now, is that as good as it gets, Dave? That's my only question. And I'd probably say yes, right? They have reiterated the guidance for FY22. So I think from a investment point of view, when you look at it, how far can he still go? I know it can probably still keep trending a little bit further, of course, and depending, of course, what the coal price does. But I was surprised they didn't actually upgrade their guidance on this instance, right? Which means they've already been very, very bullish on what they're achieving. So for me, maybe the $5 will be a bit of a resistance, Dave, that might be too tough to get through for the short period of time. So for me, look, I'll leave it to you, of course, but fundamentally, I'm thinking I'm looking at it, I'm thinking this is as good as it gets.
Yeah. All right. Perfect. So yeah, if you're in that one, just lift your stop loss to
Mhm.
around that sort of just under that 450 level, and like I said, if you're in it and you're very very aggressive, well, no harm just Wolf
Yep,
taking a profit.
agreed.
Wolf Santos, which are actually trending at the moment. I think it's looking very very good. We're not going to change anything there. Interesting to see again the CEO come out. Good old CEO telling the world they're undervalued, and they're going to do a share buyback, which is going to be helpful for this trend.
Dave, have you ever heard a CEO come and say, "Guys, we're too expensive. We've got to do something about it"?
Oh, maybe
No,
no. Um,
no. So look,
I think Elon Musk did, didn't he once?
did he? He said,
Yeah,
"Oh,
I think he did. I think he
sell us down, please."
Yeah, I think he did, and then the share price went up because they liked it. I don't know, but no, seriously, Wolf. So it's looking very good. The trend hold on, and I think it's supportive of the share price. Fantastic.
I agree. Look, I think I tend to agree with what he's saying, though, right? Even though he's singing praises of his own company and saying we're undervalued, I tend to agree with his sentiment. They've just recently merged with Oil Search. They are well positioned for growth in the Asian region, and the buyback will definitely help prop up the EPS, right? So for the moment, if you're in this, you've got to feel pretty confident it's going to do quite well.
Yeah, definitely Wolf. I don't think wasn't it Woodside that merged with Oil Search?
No, BHP sold their assets to Woodside. It was Santos and Oil Search.
Okay, all right. Well, you know what? An Oil Search um, had some fantastic production flows, didn't it, recently? So maybe they're experiencing the benefits of those. Um, Wolf, near maps.
Mm-hmm. Interesting, isn't it?
It
I
just
mean,
looks awful. You look at the chart and you think, I'm not going to go there.
mm-hmm.
Not a bad announcement by any means.
Well, they've actually been announcing fairly well over the last maybe 2 or 3 months, right? So I know the market doesn't love it, and I can understand why, because it's still unprofitable. But they are growing. I remember a good old short attack about a year or two ago, which really put a spanner in the works, spooked everyone. It obviously did its job because the price collapsed from there. And it was expensive, so I can understand why it's come down, right? But there'll come a time maybe for near maps, if they can keep plugging away in America and Australia, that you might see this go back on the trend lines, and it would not be a bad trade. But for the moment, of course, I'm just not interested. But I'm definitely still following the story because the announcements haven't been too bad recently. So one to have on your watch list.
Yeah, definitely. But don't buy it yet, anyone.
No,
We just need to see
definitely.
better price action. Wolf, Ramsey Healthcare,
Mm-hmm.
quite a fantastic offer,
Yeah.
really, from where they were. I mean, shareholders must be reasonably happy.
The shareholders should be pretty much getting yourself a lotto ticket because it's been going sideways for it's like a flat. It's like it's been dead for the last 3,
Well, look at that.
4, 5, 6 years. And anyway, look, if you bought this in July 2016, you've only just got your money back with this offer, Dave. So it's not been great. Let's face it. It's just been, I think, mismanaged maybe. Yeah, look, it's a get out of jail free card, really, when you look at it. I'm not surprised that KKR came up and gave a bid because that's what you normally do, right? You come up with a business that's been struggling, going sideways, but there's a bit of value in it, and maybe they can be unlocked by someone else. So private equities come in. What I am surprised is by that big offer that they gave him at $88, I think it was. So it's trading just a little bit below that, but it's a pretty big offer. So I'd say that would be pretty attractive to all the shareholders out there.
Yeah, tell me, Ramsey is what percent does the old owner own? Is he still? Can he still stop the deal?
No, I think it's a good question. I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure he sold out most of it, if not everything. So it's just been, yeah, new management, new people. I don't even know what role he plays anymore. Old Ramsey.
Okay, so pretty confident that there's a good chance this will go through.
I think, look, in some shape or form, yes.
All right, it's interesting though, Wolf, isn't it? And it's helping out. We've got a little trade on at the moment on a monthly chart, SHL.
Mm.
Very conservative long-term trade, and yeah, just helping these sort of companies. You can see SHL up 2.42% today, Wolf. So,
I look at
uh,
this chart compared to the RHC. I mean, I'll take this chart any day.
oh yeah, definitely. Um, Wolf,
Yes.
SES.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously we're out of this at the moment. We have to be. It's under
Yep.
trend.
Yep. Yep.
But what's the story there? Again, another positive announcement, really going into a lot of locations.
Yeah, so obviously Woolies is doing quite well for them, and Woolies is happy, so they're expanding the number of stores. That'd be the little doggy bags, or not doggy. I think it's the rubbish bin linings are being expanded to. So good news. I mean, they really haven't released any bad news, right, recently. So for me, it's just been a bit of market weakness that's brought this under the trend lines, which unfortunately we had to sell out. But it gets back over that 27 cents, Dave. We're probably back in.
All right, EM2 again, strong results. So we just need to see some mine news now, don't we? Some positivity mine. But again, Wolf, copper hits, fantastic copper hits on Oracle Ridge everywhere.
Oh, you can't deny the copper hits are pretty good. They also talked about molybdenum, which I haven't seen before, I don't think, from out of them, or maybe I just didn't back notice, but they did put a little bit more emphasis on it. I know it's low grade, but you know, it will be a byproduct if they can actually mine it. And any byproduct, it adds up to their overall attractiveness of the project and extra cash flows, and you know, probably lower the costs. So for me, that still looks pretty good. But you're right. I mean, the market's waiting for what's next. You know, we want to see some sort of a plan for a mine.
Yeah, there's a very interesting letter that Charlie Bass wrote to shareholders, and he was talking how much this mine is very similar to the original one that got Northern Star going, where it was a little bit bitsy, where they had pockets of very high grade copper and lower grade, where basically in good times you can mine the lower grade, and in weaker times you can get the higher grade. And
Mm-hmm.
he said this is very much coming together is a very similar vein as that original mine which he found, although this is copper and the other one was gold. Um, so yeah, and he's no, it's a very positive letter that he wrote to shareholders, and it's a really good read. So if you want to read that, go on the website and have a little read. Um, Wolf EVS.
Mm-hmm.
So the company again, this is another one. Just unfortunately, it's in the wrong space at the moment. People aren't interested in these type of companies.
It's in the right space and the wrong space. So it's in
Yeah,
the environmental space, which we love, Dave, but it's in the tech space, which unfortunately is getting hammered at the moment. So
yeah,
it's caught in the middle.
yeah. And again, DSE, uh, another strong announcement.
Mm, very good. I mean, the company keeps delivering. It's growing beautifully, right? It's the thing I love about it. So when you look through that quarterly today, right, pretty much most metrics are looking okay, right? But the real important thing, and we asked him during the video, is how is he managing those cash flows and making sure that the market does not go, oh guys, they're losing way too much money, we've got to get out. And he's doing that beautifully. That they had a little bit of a one-off blowout in costs, right, this quarterly, which he mentioned it. He said why. It's obviously going to be a one-off type of thing. But they also talked about saving money on certain things as well in there, Dave, which you don't hear that very often out of companies. You read through a lot of things, all they do is spend, and that's it. This guy's talking about cutting costs, making sure that, you know, the cash flows are still pretty good, $21 million in cash in the bank without losing much money. So that's probably going to help them for the next probably 12, 24 months without actually raising any cash. That's brilliant. So I'm still liking it a lot.
Excellent, Wolf. Now, Wolf, we're just going to end today. It's a pretty quiet day. We're not going to put any trades on. It's the middle of the week. We're just going to end on two American stories. And
Can
the
I
first
just,
one,
sorry, before the American stories, can I just quickly talk about Rio, because that's one you've missed out.
yeah,
And they had a big quarterly today, right? So I know yesterday we had a couple of questions saying, apparently, you know, the BHP and Rio are going to have a little bit tougher period because of the floods and everything, all the problems that we had over the last quarterly, right? And that's exactly what Rio said. It was a pretty tough quarter. But the beauty thing about it, Dave, they've still reiterated their guidance for the full year. So even though it was a little bit of a weakish quarter and a setback, no doubt, they're still very confident they can achieve the target. So pretty much, I think for me, it's been priced in. I'm happy to, still be, if you're trending this, or if you're in it for some reason for a dividend or whatever, I would not be too spooked by that quarterly at all.
Wolf, but just there's only one issue, wasn't it? That they're saying the headlines that the Financial Review gave it. They sort of were much more interested in the fact that they've got some new mine problems. So it says the headlines were Rio Tinto iron ore export slump on new mine problems. The mining giant is rushing to fix component and commissioning problems on a generation of new Australian iron ore mines, which are hurting output. So, I mean, when you read a sort of an announcement, you can look at it many different ways, can't you? So
absolutely. I mean,
so they
the risk, yes, of course, right? Tick. But have they faced this before? 100% they have, many times over their life. And again, they are fairly good operators. So while they still reiterating the guidance, and of course that could be changed in the future, you've got to back the management that can probably work it through. And headlines are all very, very nice and spooky sometimes and very exciting on other times. You go with the facts, and the facts are that they are still doing very, very well. But you got to be on top of it. So you got to watch the next couple of announcements just to see how things are going, and stick to those trend lines, Dave. That's probably the key here.
Well, what I do think, if you're trending it, but 118 you get out, and if you're long, just use that. If you're in a long-term investment, just use that 111 Wolf.
Okay. I still prefer the BHP in this space, though. While we like Rio, we like BHP, we like IGO and S32. Out of those two, the big ones, BHP probably still our favorite, and there's a reason for that. I think they're hitting all-time highs.
Yeah, and the chart to me, we're not trending it. It's it had a nice little sort of price action a few weeks ago. It went on with it a little bit, but I think there's better stories to trade.
Yep, I agree.
Mr. Wolf, we're going to talk about two American stocks, which was interesting for you.
Oh, it was eye-opening, really.
And really, the first one I've got to talk about Trade Desk, because you've really mentioned this because you've been trying to you've been asking for an increase in salary for a while now.
Yeah, I know.
And
pleading and crying in a corner, and nothing's working.
But I understand your argument when what's happened with Trade Desk?
Okay, so I think their management approved a nice little payday for the CEO of Trade Desk, and the reason why they're pretty much backing him to take on Google, right? So Trade Desk is in the advertising space, and of course Google is also. So basically, they've incentivized the CEO over a few years to get the share price up higher, but the initial payday for him is just mind-bogglingly, extraordinarily unbelievable, if I can use those three words, Dave, at $1.2 billion as a CEO pay. I mean, it's talking about obscene, talking about the inequalities in a capitalist market. This just goes way beyond that, Dave. I just could not. If I'm an investor in this business, I'm thinking no one deserves $1.2 billion, and he's incentivized to actually get $5.6 billion if he takes the price up from $66 to about $100 or something like on those lines. It's just ridiculous. Sorry, Dave, but my mind is just spinning at the moment when I think about it. How much a CEO can actually earn in America. When you think about the low age earners in America are getting like $5 an hour, and these guys just get 1 billion for a year. So, Dave,
so would you take
what's the pay rise then?
Would you take $1 billion then?
Okay, sold.
Bloody hell! It's unbelievable. It's absolutely incredible.
Yeah, look, if I was to be honest, it just puts me off the story. I just cannot back someone who gets paid so much money. No, sorry. I don't care if it's trending or not. I'm just not going to get in. I've got principles.
Yeah, right. Which is interesting, but and what's interesting is like last night it was up
I know.
7.83%.
So the market's going, yeah, but look, the thing is, good thing that he's taking on Google because Google's too powerful anyway. But the amount of reward he's getting is just obscene.
I think he'll get a bigger reward when Google buy it. They don't like competition, do they? Oh, we'll have that.
And I know it's on stock and options and so on, but still, it's just crazy. Just crazy amount of money they handed out over there.
All right.
Let's go
And
to Netflix.
let's talk about Netflix because we all love our Netflix.
Yeah, we do.
Except the share price suffering, and after hours it's down something like 30%.
Let me tell you what it is right now. Hang on. So NFLX, and after hours it's down 25.73%, right? So we go down to
About
less than $300, $250, isn't it?
250 roughly around here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it's really just gone back to where it was before the big rise it had with COVID. It's still a good company, Wolf.
It is.
But I mean, how many more people are there in the world that you can sell Netflix to?
Well, look, I think we've got to expand planetary wise. So maybe, Mars and beyond. Maybe there will be some.
Well,
Look, the company is part of Fang, and this is what I'm thinking. I'm trying to think here, right? Is part of Fang? Does it belong still in there? And my answer probably is no. So I don't know what they're going to do with this. It was an early mover into the Fang space, but I don't think it's a Fang anymore, Dave. I think there's better companies out there than Netflix, and I think that the honeymoon's over. The good times are done. It might grow a little bit, but they need to do something else. They need to reinvent themselves again. So possibly go into sports, maybe go into news, stuff like that. Because streaming is good. There's a lot of competition now. They disrupted the space. They were the first guys that did it. Worked a treat for the last decade or so. But what's next, Dave? And I think the market's saying, down she goes. The growth is done.
yeah, definitely. I mean, a great idea, Netflix. It's made billions for them. They need to look at other sort of areas to buy
Right.
TV stations or news or sport. They've got to expand into something different. It could be something completely different, but the market really don't see the growth anymore in Netflix.
Yeah, so it's just needs to come back even further. Let's have a look what it's trading on. Actually, this is pretty interesting to see where Netflix is going. And let me just tell you that it is trading on 31, 32 times, right? So if with no growth, too expensive, I'd be saying possibly 20, 25 times would be the most you'd pay for something like this. So I think it's got even further to that, probably $200 even.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, it's amazing cash cow, Wolf. They're making some great movies, great TV shows, and I think it'll over a period of time it's going to be a very steady business.
Yeah, the problem is that is a shareholder happy to just sit there with the price doing nothing if there's no growth. So
Are they paying a decent dividend or?
I don't see the dividend here at all. So potentially no. And the problem is they have to keep spending to keep producing these movies and everything else. So it's a tough space. I don't think they'll ever be a great dividend player. So they need to find growth really for them to keep going.
So you've got some of the smaller ones. I mean, could they be a buyer of Disney?
That's possible. That is definitely a possibility that how they can grow. Maybe take some of the smaller players out, like Roku and some of the stuff like that. Because I say competition's increased significantly since they first started. It's saturated the market now. Maybe Africa is the only last place left. Maybe a bit of Asia, right? But other than that, Europe, Australia, North America are all pretty much done. So where to next is the question, and I just can't see it unless they reinvent themselves.
All right, Wolf. Thank you very much for that, Wolf. We've talked about some interesting topics today. I think the important thing is, lift that stop loss on Whitehaven or take a profit, get out of AGL. Hopefully, we'll be able to get a trade for you or a trend, do a trend on the weekend. Just at the moment, there's nothing that really stands out like, yeah, let's buy that. But I would say, Wolf, generally speaking, the equity story, Trade Watch trends are doing absolutely brilliantly so far this year. So good to see them doing well, Wolf.
They always do well, Dave. Well, most of them anyway. So very, very happy with them. And That's why the trend is your friend, as they say.
All right. Thanks, Wolfie. Have a good day, mate. Bye
All
bye.
right, bye.
Take care. Bye.